January 1st product needed to be in the December catalog. So by the time Marvel's like, here's the next catalog, it's got the January 1st stuff, Diamond's like, this does not work. So all of the January 1st
stuff... You're too late, Marvel! You're too late!
Yeah, you screwed up.
Come on and visit for any occasion. Don't keep patting down waiting, comics and conversation. Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers. And now, here are Patrick Brower and W. Dal Bush.
Are you good?
I think I'm good, yeah.
Are you hungry?
No, I had a late lunch today.
Okay.
I've started to change my food schedule around on days where we record so I can be not aggressively hungry.
That's good.
Thank you.
I think that's better for your mental well-being.
Yeah, and physical well-being. I mean, just the whole body, the inside and the outside, was not doing well under the old podcast schedule and food schedule.
Oh, don't worry. You don't have to tell us.
No? Okay.
Everyone listening knows.
That's cool.
I'm glad that we have a compromise for recording. Because don't you think these listeners of Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast on the Yak Channel Podcast Network, being recorded for the last time this year, nay, this decade, deserve you to be happy?
Oh, no.
And so they get a good listening experience?
No.
Are you saying they don't deserve it, or that they get a better listening experience when you are unhappy?
Oh, they don't deserve it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I see. Well, we've already had one patron cancel their pledge, I assume because of how aggressively hungry you were.
Okay.
So I wonder if they're just going to start dropping.
Okay.
Is that your plan?
I
to
mean,
lose the patrons and we stop doing this?
I don't care.
About the patrons, the podcast, challengers, the comics industry?
I care about challengers.
Okay. How was your Christmas?
Good. How was yours?
That was not what I was going to ask. I just thought I'd throw that in there since we were doing it.
Yeah, it was good. It was relaxing. I really appreciated a little bit of time for myself. Self-care, you know?
Yeah, I've heard about it.
Yeah, boy, you don't get to have it ever.
No, sure don't. 2 days off in a row for you. How was that?
Oh, family stuff.
How was that?
Oh, family stuff.
Was that good? Did you did you enjoy it?
Patrick's second full-time job, family stuff.
Was it good?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it was real good. It was really good.
When's the next holiday? I'm definitely closing at 5 o'clock Tuesday in red and Wednesday at blue. I'm definitely taking those 4 hours out, even though I have to give one back right away.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, not even one necessarily.
Well, I mean...
45 minutes maybe.
Sure, but, the mental preparation that goes into it.
Sure.
We are ending the year and starting the decade at Challengers. Both of those things.
Yeah, it's true. We are.
We have historically done two separate New Year's Eve / Nerd Year's Eve events where we didn't actually host them.
No.
The hosts were Jess Godwin and Elliot Serrano. We were the venue.
Right.
And it was an organized, ticketed event. And there were some fun moments.
Sure.
And there were some moments that remind us that being a venue is not necessarily a good thing for people that own a business.
Yeah, and it's not something that I feel like we had a good background in. Like, there were things that when they occurred, it's like, oh, somebody who did this professionally would have seen this coming a mile away. And we didn't, and now we have to try and muddle through it for the next few hours. And
then we did it again.
Yeah. I think some of it, I mean, not to dredge up really old stuff, but I think it was partially things where it's like, we were maybe not a great place to start with, and then we didn't know pitfalls ahead of time.
It was 10 to 11 and 11 to 12, right? Those are the years?
Yeah.
I think so.
Sure.
Well, there was enough of a positive of the first year that we thought we could monetize it better for the second year.
Yep.
And, of course, because we tried to monetize it, we had much less attendance.
Yeah. Total fiasco. Not a total fiasco.
No, not a
but
fiasco.
I remember it being a thing where the first one ended in a way where like, wow, maybe we should do more with this. And the second one ended in a way where we said, let's be done with this forever.
Well,
and we sort of were.
To be fair, I want to say that everybody that attended had a great time each time.
Sure. But that's not the be-all, end-all of what we're expecting.
Right. I mean,
even in those early days when we were still bright-eyed and Dal Bushy-tailed, we were not willing to look at that and go, well, it's enough that people had a good time. It was like, this is sort of really hard to do and takes a lot of money, so we need a better solution than just
basically,
people besides us being happy.
The first year was, people had a really good time. How can we do that and get paid?
Right. Yes.
I do remember one year, one of those two parties, I think the first one. The first one, I spent the change of the year in the back of what was, I guess, just becoming the Rogues Gallery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With Tony Akins pouring champagne.
Sure.
And I spent the turn of the year, the second one, smooching Jess Godwin at the stroke of midnight for charity.
For charity.
I mean, it was charity for her.
Rude.
No. It was
a rude thing to say.
No. I meant like she was doling out the charity.
Right, and it's a rude thing to say.
It's not true. It was
It's a rude thing to say.
She was auctioning off the Midnight Kiss for charity.
Right.
For an adoption charity.
Nice.
And I won.
Good work.
Look at us now.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I meant you and me.
Oh, okay.
Recording a podcast
Yeah, look at that.
about comics and stuff on a network in a place
Sure.
by a thing.
Yep.
With it being the end of the year, nay decade, I'll stop doing that.
Okay, thanks.
That
Just
obviously,
a real quick sidebar. Like, so much of the, like, it's the end of the decade stuff just feels real, like, tacked on to me for a lot of things that I follow and places that I go to. Where it's like, it is, but can it just be enough that it's the end of a year?
yeah, I got to tell you,
Can it
I
just
didn't
be
even
it?
I didn't even actually comprehend that it was the end of the decade until like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, some of it's just, I mean, between news and media and culture, a decade seems like an unbelievably long amount of time. Like, there's enough stuff to deal with in 2019, personally, professionally, culturally, politically, globally, that thinking about stuff that happened in 2017, it's like, I can't deal with that. In 2011? Jesus, it might as well be the Stone Age.
Yeah, and it's so arbitrary. It's just a round derivative of 10 that, okay, we're going to analyze that as a year.
It doesn't feel like this decade was a discrete unit so much as like it was several massive upheaval units.
Sure.
So grouping them together it's really weird. It's like saying, what's the best cultural event from 1718 to today? Like, why there? Totally arbitrary.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
sure.
And, seeing rankings about the best comics of the decade or whatever, I don't care.
Yeah, but anyway, the year stuff I'm usually okay with because that's a generally established. We are New Year's is a celebration that we have in the United States, probably all over the world. I don't know, I don't care, but it's something that we've always had in our lives, and the idea of marking off a year and sort of looking back on it, and how you feel about it, making resolutions for the next year, and all that sort of stuff. Like that feels very sensible to me. But the decade stuff, it's so weird. It's like people celebrating a half birthday. Like,
yeah.
I don't understand the point of this. But anyway.
Or when people say, it's our 6-month anniversary.
Uh-huh.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
Anna means year.
That's not a thing.
It's your 6-month anniversary.
And even that's stupid.
Agreed.
Anyway.
Yeah, so end of a year, and
May
really,
the Oh, sorry.
It just feels like the, not even changing a month of the calendar. I don't know.
I suppose, yeah.
Now more than ever, and this is definitely my current workload.
Yeah.
Speaking for me.
Same here.
And certain people who hear this a lot are sick of hearing this. That
Uh-huh.
I literally wake up each day not knowing what day it is and where I have to be.
Right.
Because in the past, I know I either have to be at Bucktown or picking up the books before I go to Bucktown.
Uh-huh.
Now, it's a whole different thing because they're all different times and
Right.
different schedules, and yeah, I'm still adjusting to it. It's weird having different places to go,
Sure.
and it's still blue still feels weird to me physically.
How's that?
Behind the counter is angled down
Oh,
when you're facing the store.
okay, sure.
So if I'm ever on the stool working on the computer,
Uh-huh.
I feel it, and when I get up, I feel it.
Okay.
Like it's physically different. Like
Huh.
red doesn't feel either way. It just feels like I'm sitting or I'm standing.
Right.
But here it feels angled and different.
Sure. Okay.
Like when I get off of the stool, this is me being out of shape and an old man. When I get up out of the stool, I get up out of the stool like I'm climbing this huge structure. When I get off the stool, like blue, it physically hurts.
because of the angle that you're at?
I don't know. I assume because of that.
Okay.
Because of the way everything's leaning and the way I'm standing. And I need to relearn how to walk, I think, in 2020.
Okay, that's a good resolution.
Yeah.
I mean, like, infants do it. So, I mean, you're smarter than an infant.
I don't know. Infants don't open comic
I've seen
stores.
them. They're pretty stupid.
Oh, I feel like you're taking shots at Kirby Brown now.
No, I'm not calling on any specific infant. I'm just saying they're all pretty dumb.
Okay. I don't know. They get everything handed to them. They get carried everywhere. It's pretty smart in my book.
All right. Well, I guess maybe instead of learning to walk, learn to be more of an infant, I guess. Like, sounds like you found yourself a solution that works for you.
Okay, but you know who's going to have to take the brunt of that?
Can't.
I don't assume there's been comic news this week when all the publishers are
Oh,
closed.
golly, yeah. I mean, not that I've seen.
Yeah.
The last 2 weeks have been very light on comics news because everyone's away for the holidays. Like, books aren't even going to the printer necessarily. Stuff's just kind of in limbo.
When is Emerald City?
I don't know. Would you like me to look it up?
I mean, I feel like that's going to be the first big news dump of the season.
Yeah, well, it could be
Emerald
C2.
City, C2E2.
That's the thing. It could be C2E2 depending
huh.
on when they land because
Okay.
C2E2 is so much earlier this year.
In the past week, and now this is me addressing the listener, not you.
Okay, good, because I'm typing.
In the past week, my colleague and frequent podcast host, W. Dow Bush, has had two quotes that kind of sum up a lot of things about our store.
Is it the one about how infants are stupid? March 12th to the 15th is Emerald City.
Oh, we're before.
It seems
Wow,
like the
okay.
C2E2 is going to get there
Okay.
ahead.
Sums up things about the store, basically, and one of them relates to the Christmas season and how Christmas always seems to remind you. Now I'm talking to you again.
Okay, good.
Always,
Honestly, these are going to be brand new to me because I don't usually remember anything
I know,
say.
but that's why I'm telling them to you, so you can elaborate if you want
Thank
to.
you. I'll give it a shot.
The Christmas season always reminds you how terrible our shop is because we don't have anything anyone's ever looking for.
Yeah, I'm sure we've talked about this in previous years' Christmas-themed podcasts. But the real heart of the holiday shopping season for Challengers sees a ton of people come in who are not usual, people who go to comic shops. And they are almost always asking for stuff that literally no one in the entire year has asked for, which is why we don't have it. And they don't understand that. So it's a lot of like, oh, I just assumed you would have this. They didn't call, they didn't email, they just dropped in like, yeah, hi, I'm looking for Spanish language Captain America comics or whatever. And it's like, no one's asked for that. We don't even know how to get those. Like, oh, you don't? Okay. Or just a lot of stuff we don't carry, vintage books or
Iron Man decals.
yeah, or I mean,
But it's always really specific. It's not like, do you have,
Yeah. Do you have
something,
a good
blah, blah,
Batman
blah.
comic or something. It's a specific. I need a
Do you have the Cliff Burton Metallica pop?
a Ghost Rider Marvel Legends action figure, and you have to go. Well, that's not a thing that's constantly in production. They produced those like a year and a half ago, and we don't have them anymore because they sold out. Which occasionally will lead someone to then pull out their phone and look online and then find out, oh yes, you can't just buy that thing anymore. It is like a discontinued collectible. It's going to cost you more money.
Or the other thing, they'll see it on eBay and say, well, they have it.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes we get stuff like that.
But more often than not, it's a very specific thing that we don't even carry.
Yeah. I spent a lot
DVDs.
of time. Yeah,
It's always superhero DVDs.
I spend a lot of time telling people no, like not even knowing the like. Well, let me explain why we don't have that so much as like there's nothing I can tell you that's going to help with this. Like a lot of Baby Yoda merchandise. No, there isn't any. Like no one's going to have it. People have done the like I called a bunch of stores. Like stop calling stores. No one's going to have it. It won't come out until next year.
If you were fast enough, you could have bought a bunch of stuff on Etsy. But then Lucas or Disney started cracking down hard.
But I mean, that's I'm never going to say like sure handcrafted or bootleg merchandise.
Oh yeah,
yes.
I know. I was saying that at the 4-Star Christmas party, Molly Jane had a great what looked like a hand knitted sweater, but it was just a sweatshirt with a decal,
and
it was a knitted Baby Yoda, and it just said in Christmas font, "What child is this?"
That's nice.
Yeah.
There's definitely like Redbubble style, like you can get this one image on a T-shirt or a sweater or a tumbler or whatever. But even that stuff, that's never the stuff that people are referring to. What they mean is like, I want a doll or a pop or an action figure or a plush, and it's like,
okay, come back in May
next year.
Come back in May.
So there's a lot of that. There were things where occasionally it would be something where it's like, that's just like, that's a book that sold out a long time ago. We can't get any more of it. Or that's the thing we've never carried, or that's the thing that no comic shop is probably going to have. But it's just the kind of the crush of all of these people at once asking for things and having to tell all these people no in a way where it's, I can't even order it for you. Like, the answer is just no. No, we don't have it. No, we're not going to have it. It creates this mental state of like, God, we're doing a terrible job. Why aren't we stocking the right stuff? And then you kind of have to do this corrective thing of like, literally no one in the last 51 weeks has asked for this. Literally no one. And this person who asked for it is only asking for it this one time, this 1 year. Even if you got more next week, they won't want to buy it.
Right.
So it's like, you kind of can't run your store that way. Like, there's instances where you hear requests for things and it's like, yes, I should have that for next time. That's a good thing. I can't believe we don't have it. We'll fix that. But then there's times where it's just like, sure, I missed out on a sale, but Jesus Christ, what were the odds of anyone ever coming and asking for that? And how long would I have had to sit on that one piece of merchandise, clogging up my inventory, in case someone asked for it?
Yep.
In a store that has a set amount of square footage and a set amount of display space that I can't just keep shoving more stuff into, just in case. But anyway, yeah, that's a very Christmas at Challengers feeling, is a few days of like, God, we do a terrible job. We don't have anything good. Everything we have is garbage. We don't have anything good.
Today I did the ceremonial cleaning out the hold box of things that were ordered as Christmas gifts.
Hey, I did that at River North.
Yeah.
Fun.
What should even have gone back that's in there?
There were a few things that were sent over on like the 12th or the 13th.
Oh, okay.
It was like a Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay.
Volume 1 for somebody.
Yeah, I brought that over there.
A Batman Superman variant cover.
Yeah.
That was brought over.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Both those ended up back on the shelves.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, things that, like, there was somebody who wanted This One Summer, which we should have had and didn't, thanks to one of many diamond screw-ups this time of year.
So many more.
Specifically this year, not regularly. So she said she needed it for Tuesday. We got it that Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Never came in.
Yep.
Those 6 Dragon Ball Zs. Dragon Ball Supers.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Ugh.
From the 10th, then talked to on the 18th.
Oh my God.
Put them back out.
What a waste.
Uh-huh.
I could have sold those so many times.
I know
hate that stuff.
Yep. And both of those people, both of those were talked to.
Yeah.
Not messages left.
Oh, yeah.
I
talked to that woman to say, we got all those Dragon Ball Supers in. We did, like, extra orders like the week before Christmas.
Because it was
just
Christmas.
to make sure that they would be in time. And it didn't matter. Man, oh man. What a bummer. Ugh.
That being said, though, the hold box is pretty empty right now.
Yeah, and I gotta say, my experience with River North is that generally more people are coming in for the stuff than I remember coming in for things in Bucktown.
Well, I don't know that we put that much stuff on hold in River North.
But, like, there's a few things, like, multiple, what was it? ElfQuest volumes, and then there was somebody else who had, like, a bunch of Kataro volumes. They came in.
Oh, all right.
They bought their stuff.
Those weren't on my days.
No, they were on my days, which is why I can say it.
That Ghost Rider Marvel Select?
Yeah. Yeah.
That wasn't a transfer, that was just on hold.
It was.
I guess it's kind of different.
Still, someone came in and bought it. That is never a guarantee. Although, again,
Yeah,
a couple things that we got transferred over for people in River North that then had to go back on the shelf. So it's not like it's all winners.
Right. The thing that we're sending over in a day or 2 days, I think this time, and already reordered. The person canceled.
Yeah.
So be it.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of canceling and orders and things,
Uh-huh.
more and more club members who, when they come in and you hand them their books and show them the
The sheet. and
the
start to
note
explain
sheet,
it.
they all say, "No, I saw that online."
That's great.
Yeah.
I hope it's
Yeah.
true.
And there's even
I'm
some
not, like,
people
quizzing them on it, so they could be lying.
like for some people I won't. I'll say, hey, this doesn't really apply to you, but we've had issues, blah blah blah. But I don't say that all the time because sometimes it does. But one time I'm like, this doesn't really apply to you, and they go, oh, it kind of does. I'm like, well, have we ever had to call you? Yeah. Oh, this 100% applies to you.
Yep. This will definitely apply in 2020.
And
Be aware of
this
it.
club member, then once he got the email, put a reminder in his phone every month.
Just pick a day of the month. Pick
Yeah.
one day.
Yeah.
What?
And
like,
I thought,
the
what a
10th.
good idea.
There you go. Come in at the 10th every month.
What a good idea. Put that reminder in.
These are all things you can do with modern technology. You can set recurring reminders.
Another club member today said, hey, can I just keep my card on file? Like, this club member hasn't been a problem with that, but they said, just in case, I have a card on file, then I can call you guys and say charge it.
Yeah.
Sure. And after they did it, they said, oh, I feel better about this.
Yeah. Yeah, again, that's the thing I've explained to a few people, and I think we put it on the podcast, and we've made it, I think, generally clear, even in the times where we send out to delinquent subscribers the email, letting them know that they're delinquent, they need to come in and get their books, that you can always call in with a credit card number. Like, we will always take payment over the phone.
Yeah.
As long as the books are paid for, I don't care how long it takes you,
And
as
we
long as
don't-
they're paid for.
We don't keep your card on file unless you ask us to.
Yeah, and even
that is not a
then-
thing we're going out of our way to do. That is an option you have.
Right, and even then, we are not going to charge it unless you call or email and say, charge my card.
Yep.
So even though we're keeping your card on file, it is still your responsibility to decide when that gets charged. It's not just something where
I don't
after
like
a month
it
I'm going to
being
be
our,
like, let's
our
go.
decision.
No,
Yeah.
never.
Yeah.
Mostly because, we've got a few people that we send books out for, and I just tried to send one of their books out, and I couldn't because the card bounced.
Oh,
So now I got to wait a week. And
is
then
it
maybe
the
try
person
again.
whose card frequently bounces?
Yes.
Okay.
And even then, when it was bouncing, it was like, oh, it's because I get paid at the end of the month, so I've got to, like, don't charge me then. Like, okay, cool. So, like, I'll charge you on the 18th. Oh, I can't. Middle of the month. Okay.
So last week, speaking of diamond errors,
Uh-huh.
which we were a few minutes ago, we talked about how the way the books were received, we couldn't send out subscriber emails
Correct.
for the week. And when we did send out subscriber emails of the, hey, the new catalog is up variety this Monday, we found a completely different error that
Totally
A,
weird.
we had no idea existed, B, had to be told by customers because the error isn't visible on our end.
Right.
And what it is in that monthly email, when you get like the link that says, hey, the new catalog is up on the website, here it is, that Dow meticulously works on every month and does a great job of highlighting books and
Thanks.
putting pictures and all this sorts of stuff. The main body of the email is your subscription list of everything you have on your subscription.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out that there's some weirdo programming error that randomly inserted canceled subscriptions, previously bought special orders.
Well, so it was two emails. So the Monday email was the up-to-date subscription list, and that had a bunch of titles for subscribers that had been removed from their list already. And people had emailed them back to us, and we were able to look at it and go, okay, well, that's the email you got that says you're down for this book. But when I go into Comic Suite to your customer dashboard, you're not down for that book anymore. So I don't know how to make it stop doing that because it technically shouldn't be doing it now. It's unclear what range it's putting in canceled titles because it's not every book you've ever subscribed to. Like, that would be immediately apparent because you'd be looking at it and going, well, this book hasn't come out for 4 years. So there's probably a range of time where if you had it on your list and took it off, when it's doing the reporting, it still thinks you have it on there. And then today on Friday, when we sent out the weekly subscriber email to people in Bucktown, we can't do River North yet probably not until January 3rd. Hopefully that everything should be ready then to start sending it out to
From a completely different Diamond error.
Completely different dumb Diamond error. But anyway, the subscriber email that was sent out on Friday, I noticed it as well because it was in my subscriber email. There were things that were deleted from people's special orders that still list in their email as coming in for them. But when we go to their customer dashboard in Comic Suite, they are not down for it anymore. So we were having people immediately saying, hey, I thought I asked for this book not to be on there. And you did, and we did it, but Comic Suite still has it on the report, which is...
Not actually in your subscription file, just on the report.
Which is super frustrating because in a way it kind of defeats the purpose of even sending out the email, because if it's not accurate information, we might as well send no information.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to start freaking people out because they're going to be seeing stuff they're down for that they don't want to be down for, and then they have to email us and we have to go, don't worry, you're not. So now it's like, well, should they worry about any of it? Should they make any changes? What is correct and what is an error? And we can't send out a corrected version because something inherently within the reporting function is generating bad information. And we can't, like, if we click a button on the customer dashboard to send out people's polls list or the list of titles they're down for, it's automated. We click a button, they get an email.
We don't see it.
We don't get to alter any of it. We can't just output it and start crossing stuff off and email
we get to
it.
write a header.
Even then, like, that's just something that's the header that they get for the subscription list, if we email that, is completely different. That's just an internal thing.
Yeah.
So basically we had to post it to Diamond and go, hey, this is a problem we're having. And in a rare piece of good Comic Suite news, one of the technicians had posted on the boards that they were able to replicate the error, which means that it's not just something wrong in our database, it's something wrong in the code. But because it's wrong in the code, they can hopefully fix it a little faster, because it's not... We've had errors where it's like they genuinely don't know why it's doing that, and something happened somewhere in our database that is baffling to them. And it's just like, well, hopefully this won't be an error at some point in the future. This is a thing where it's like, no, the programmers broke it somewhere along the way. Hopefully that means they can fix it. Because it worked great once, it just doesn't work great now. So if they're aware of it at least. But the problem is, I don't know how long it's going to take to fix. With me telling them on December 27th, 8 days after they've put out a new patch, I don't know if they're going to do a hot fix, if they're going to do, a patch in 3 months that corrects it, or what. And in the meantime, it's just like, I don't love sending out these emails because they are not correct. And that reflects badly on us, and it stresses out our customers. And it's not only is it not helpful in the sense that people don't know if they can trust the information they're receiving, it's unhelpful in that it's making people not want to engage with the process at all, and that's really, really bad for us. Because one of the things I put in the post that I gave to Diamond is, like, this stuff is important to us because it's the communication functions of Comic Suite are like a backbone part of it. It's something we depend on a lot to keep people aware of what's coming in for them, and also being able to add titles to their list. If they don't want to even look at the emails because it's incorrect, that's real bad. So hopefully this is something that Diamond fixes quickly, because I think it's really important. But that'll depend on how long it takes to fix, what other things they're fixing in the meantime, how quickly they can put a patch out, who's even working this week, whatever.
Hey, speaking of things that they're already working on,
What's that?
I had another Diamond error rear its head again.
Did you really?
A work order. Like, I thought the work orders should have happened one time when you pull up somebody's account.
Was it for Thor?
Yeah.
That is me trying to get it to work right and getting an error again. Okay. So, but the good news is I eventually got it to work right. So all of the January 1st stuff that we were having problems with is all subscribed to people, but in the process, all the Thor people got a work order again.
Okay.
So it's not that the error recurred, it's that my inputting it caused it to recur again.
Okay, well that's good enough, because I was worried that...
No.
Because I assumed that one work order clearing it, you're done.
Yes, that's still the case.
Okay.
It's just in the process of trying to get people signed up for Thor #1 and Star Wars #1, because I'll try and make this real fast. All of the January 1st Marvel stuff was put in weirdly into the system. What we heard was that Marvel assumed that the January 1st stuff could go in the January catalog, where because of the way that the shipping schedule worked and the final order cutoffs worked, because of the holidays, both the December and November holidays, January 1st product needed to be in the December catalog. So by the time Marvel's like, here's the next catalog, it's got the January 1st stuff, Diamond's like, this does not work. So all of the January 1st
You're
stuff...
too late, Marvel! You're too late!
Yeah, you screwed up. So all the January 1st stuff had to go in under final order cutoffs and new to orders, so the orders had to be locked in for the January 1st product before the January catalog was turned into Diamond by retailers. Because of that, it screwed up the way that a lot of subscription stuff worked, because usually we would go through the initial catalog, Comic Suite would plug in all the subscriptions for all the titles that people are subscribed to, and then we would upload that to Diamond. Well, it can't do that unless you have that initial catalog go into Diamond. So things on, like, final order cutoff, you have to put numbers in, and then at the end of it, the final order cutoff will go, hey, there's a book in here that you're ordering a bunch of copies of that you have subscriptions for, but you don't have any posted subscriptions for. The posting is what happens in the initial catalog. Do you want to post them now for FOC? And it's like, yes, I do. For whatever reason, issue 1s, that function doesn't work for. So like Marauders 5, fine. Everybody got signed up for it, no problem. Web of Black Widow, whatever. But things like Hawkeye Freefall, Star Wars #1, Thor #1, 0 prompt. So that was the thing where it's like, afterwards I had to figure out, okay, how do we do this? Because a lot of the things were adding people, like adding multiple customers to one item as a special order is a specific process that usually depends on the books either A, being on initial order, or B, being in stock. When it's C, you ordered them on final order cutoff via a reorder, system gets real squirrely. Kind of doesn't expect to see that. Doesn't really know why that's happening. So that was a lot of the problem for the work orders, and then I eventually figured out how to get it to do that. But it was definitely kind of a hassle, and I really hope it doesn't ever happen again, because it's bad enough that it happens for anything, but when it happens for books where we have like 20 or 30 people down for it, it's like, this is a problem. Yeah, that was not a fun thing to be dealing with in December, and as a result, it's also kind of screwed up River North in a way, because of when in River North's life cycle those books were ordered, we're kind of at a point where it's like, I can't get this onto people's accounts in a reasonable way. So I have to wait until they come in and then like scan them in individually. So that'll be fun.
Super fun all the time.
Yeah, right? Comic Suite. It's a real fun service. I'm not at all thinking about alternatives to it.
It's on a very specific analytical cycle right now, where in 3 months we may be having a whole different podcast. We could just dig out of the archives and just plug in, because we talked all about it years ago.
Sure. I assume it's progressed since then. It would have to.
Sure. But yeah, it's definitely things that don't make our job any easier.
No.
And there's a level of professionalism that we feel that we can achieve, and this is not it.
Yeah, it's not only is it making the store look bad, but it's causing a ton of stress and friction and extra work, and it's like, look, I'm working extra hours, but I don't want to have to work this hard. This is stuff where these are the things that should be easy, and you're making them more difficult, and I am much less tolerant of that now than I might have been 6 months ago.
Sure. Well, next year, 2020's Christmas is a Friday because of leap year.
Yes.
So we've got, like 5 years until this is an issue again, as far as a new release day, Christmas, New Year's holiday.
Oh, I mean,
because there'll be 2 leap years in there.
I don't really, that part of it didn't bother me.
But I mean, that caused a lot of the Marvel hassle as far as the...
Yeah, it's true, some of it, yeah. We'll see.
There's also, as you might guess, although you might be completely shocked, the retail community is completely divided on this upcoming week's release date. Some people feel that it should have been a skip week entirely.
Well, 2 of them in a row? You're nuts.
Yeah. Well, this wasn't a skip week.
I beg to differ.
Comics came out, Dal.
Show me on the sales totals where that's true.
I can show you on the shelf where they came out. Comics were released
I don't
to be
believe
sold
it.
on a new comic day.
I don't have any numbers to back that up. That is pure conjecture.
Some retailers would have preferred just no comics the week between Christmas and New Year's, and they think like, oh well, we could have given our staff some more time off, and it'd be more time off for us. And
How much more time off?
yeah, I mean, I don't.
Who in retail is
None,
getting 2
none
weeks
for
off?
us. None for us.
What?
No, they just mean like an extra day. Well, basically, a lot of stores are normally closed on New Year's Day,
They still can be.
but it's new release day. Comics
So?
are available, and if their customers can't get the books from them, they'll go somewhere else and they'll lose them forever. That's how comics work,
I
Dad.
know, that's what we're constantly being told. If I can't have this at the exact same time everybody else does, my business will evaporate, never to return. All of my subscribers will never come into my store ever again. And it's like, look, if you have a store where you've always been closed on New Year's Day, if anything,
They're used to it.
they're used to it, and no one's going to be expecting you to have the new books on New Year's Day. Like, just be closed like always. Be open on Thursday. That's when all your people are going to be coming in anyway.
Yeah, we're the idiots who are opening at midnight,
Yeah.
and we're definitely not doing it every Wednesday of the month like
It's-
Marvel has said we could.
It's not like we're going to be stealing other people's business from that.
No.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Yeah, it doesn't shock me that a lot of retailers are upset about a decision the industry has made. But I don't know. I mean, is it going to be... Is it going to affect some people adversely? Yeah, every decision does. There's no decision that's going to make 100% of people in the comics retail community happy. So, yeah, I don't expect anyone to do anything differently. And for the people who are like, well, they should have just had no books that week, like, I would be furious about that, because it's like, cool, so one of the weeks that I have to be open and, like, pay my rent, you're saying I should have no product then,
Yeah.
with which to sell to people. Like, that's not helpful to me.
I mean, that is legitimately an argument that I would use, but you just said you didn't sell any new product this week.
No, I mean for January 1st.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like, that's the thing. Like, if we had a regular release week right before that, I could make the argument of, like, fine, have, like, a limited or abbreviated or blank release week. But when we only get, like, 12 books in on December 26th, to then say, like, oh, let's have nothing the week of January 1st, I literally can't afford that.
No.
I can't afford
No.
to not have product for 2 weeks.
It is always interesting. Like, the 2 days before Christmas, you feel kind of good. You're like, man, what if retail was like this all the time? How great would this be?
Uh-huh. You get sucked in by it. Look, I'm ringing people up all the time. And
But
people are coming up with stacks of stuff.
It shouldn't, and they have questions. They take recommendations, and it shouldn't be just 2 days.
Yeah.
It should have been longer, but fine. It's what the world is.
It's just what
and
it is
everything.
now.
But it's easy to be like, oh wow, like we're doing okay. It's like, oh, it's because of all the 2 weeks coming up
Right.
that you need this.
Right.
This is not bonus. This is just top loading.
Yeah. Take what you made on Wednesday the 18th and then shave 40% off and then give that to December 26th because that's what you're going to make that week.
Yep. And I assume, like, I talked to some people today who only had for this week Christmas Day off.
Right.
And I assume New Year's is the same way. Maybe half day New Year's Eve day off, but you're back to work on the 2nd, I assume, unless you're the Onion.
Yeah, well, I think some businesses, because, like, a lot of people will take off, you know, the
2 weeks.
yeah, or they'll be off probably the 24th, so it's like, well, they might take off the 23rd as well then, and since you're off the 24th and 25th, you'll take off the 26th and 27th. And then if you've got, you know, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day off, it's like, maybe I'll just... So, yeah,
Basically,
a lot of
things
people will take
return
2
to
weeks
normal
off.
January 6th.
Right.
That is when all the BBC Radio 1 DJs report back
Oh, that's how you know
to
that.
their normal...
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
obviously.
Uh-huh.
TV shows are back that week? Yeah, of course.
Not all TV shows. We got to wait another week for...
Some. I'm specifically thinking of, I think, Emergence and Stumptown, because they both had a thing where they said they're coming back like that 7th or
okay.
8th or whatever.
Maybe I'll be caught up by Stump on Tama then.
Maybe.
I wouldn't count on it, though.
Yeah.
Hey, you mentioned Hawkeye Freefall number
Hawkeye
1.
Freefall number 1.
earlier.
I did.
We got in the mail
What?
from Matthew Rosenberg,
He's
the
very good
writer.
at promoting his Marvel stuff.
Oh, so good. It's
So
promoting
good.
all his stuff. The writer of Hawkeye
Marvel
Freefall
stuff in
number
particular,
one.
though. Yes, go on.
We got a signed print of the cover of number
that's
one.
very cool.
Apparently, only 200 were made,
Neat.
and he had reached out to us, and I, after like a month, responded saying, "Yeah, man, we'll do it." So what we're going to do with this book is anybody who buys Hawkeye number one at either store will be entered into a raffle to win this this number one cover print signed by Matthew Rosenberg, and it's only going to be for, I want to say, the first week of release.
Okay.
Yeah, if you buy it from the 1st through the 6th, you'll get a raffle ticket.
Okay.
And then we'll draw afterwards. We'll put all the names together.
Okay.
All the people from red, the person from blue.
Uh-huh. Both people from Blue. Yeah.
Okay. See? Already doubled it.
Yep, look at that.
Yeah, so thank you, Matthew. He's really good at always sending out emails for all of his stuff. And he gracefully did this.
Yeah, and I'm super glad he did, and that's super cool. I'm always going to append that praise with the, I really wish the writers of these work-for-hire books didn't have to do this.
Yeah.
I wish it was not part of their job as for-hire talent to promote a book that a company owns that's not them.
And I can tell you that this was a handwritten envelope, and he paid for postage himself.
That honest to God burns me up when
Yeah.
it's like, this is literally not your job to do this, or at least it should not be your job to do this.
I did offer to PayPal him the postage, but he didn't respond either way to that.
Yeah. I really wish, I mean, Marvel Comics, which is owned by Disney, which is like the biggest entertainment conglomerate in the world, and the guy who writes the Hawkeye comic has to send out 200 prints to be like, hey, please read Hawkeye, a book that I don't own.
Yep.
It's insane to me.
Well,
the world is structured real badly.
There were also some 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank sticker and 2 signed copies of issue 4 of 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank.
Oh, that's
in an
very
envelope.
cool.
Yeah, so again, I'm sure they came out of his personal stash.
Sure it did. He's always been a guy that's very cool with the emails as far as letting you know what he's working on and what he's got coming out from different companies, but also very open of like, look, I want to help you sell these books, so whatever I can do. Like a very kind thing of like, look, I can't stop by your stores, but if I'm in town at a show, if you're a retailer, bring books by my table. I will sign them for your store.
Yeah, he's a former retailer himself, so
Yeah.
he knows how it works. But that was super generous of him, and
Yeah,
we're
for sure.
happy to give this print a home.
Yeah. Not our home, obviously, but like a customer's
Yeah,
home.
get it into a new home.
Yes, correct.
Hey, Dal, we got
Patrick.
a typical Southern Hobby order this week in which I place an order on the phone, and then the order shows up with twice as much stuff.
Literally every time I call
oh, man.
Garrett at Southern Hobby, literally every time he answers the phone with, "Oh God, what did I do this time?"
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's 90% of the time I'm calling because it's like, hey, this thing was damaged, or hey, we got this and we shouldn't have, or hey, we didn't get this and we were supposed to. 10% of the time it's like, no, it's a different thing. I got a question about something.
I just remembered something. Something came in and I had Ashley put it in the back, and then I don't know where she put it because I didn't see it, and I forgot to bring it home for you
Oh, okay.
because you got a thing.
I did?
Yeah,
From Soho?
yeah,
Oh. What was it?
a robot
Oh.
like about this big.
Oh. That
One
sounds
of,
cool.
one of the boxes that has a slant. Like it's
Sure.
a box.
Okay.
It's a rectangle, but it's angled.
Yeah, it's one of the siege boxes, probably.
Okay.
I don't... Oh, wow, I wonder what that would have been.
It was just one. I assumed it was yours.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
It wasn't very expensive. It was like, I don't know, $45?
Oh man, it's a leader. Oh man, is it Astrotrain?
I have no idea.
Oh man, it might be leader Astrotrain. Yeah, can you remember to bring? can you find it in the back?
I can only remember to do it if I see it.
Can
And
you please find it in the back?
I had it. So she was walking to the shelf. She goes, "You this week?" I go, "No, back room."
I think it might be leader Astrotrain.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I
It's okay. It's not. I mean, I got a bunch of stuff to open, and I've been opening.
since
a
I
bunch
knew
of
you
stuff.
were going to be here for the recording, I could have brought it.
So
with.
not the end of the world, but yes, please. I would definitely
Sure.
like to crack into him.
But then it's like, oh, here's this 8 more pops from Umbrella Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean 8 characters, not 8 pops,
Right.
16 pops. And Doctor Doom pops.
Mm-hmm.
and 3 Invincible Iron Man Marvel Legends.
Okay.
But it's the Doom armor. It's Doctor Doom. Remember the Walking exclusive?
Infamous.
That's not what the package says.
Oh, okay.
The package says Invincible.
Okay, but it's not.
But it is...
Invincible Iron Man was Ironheart.
Right, but it's the Walgreens exclusive minus the cape.
Oh, what?
Instead of the green cape, it's just the armor.
Oh,
And he has a yellow
please
lightsaber.
buy him.
So anyway, those are all behind the counter,
Uh-huh.
and on the new release shelf is a bagged and board photo of it.
Saying if you want
Says,
this, please bring it to the
bring
counter.
this to the front counter. Yep.
Great. The pops you put out, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, on the pop shelf, there's no room
No.
on the new this week shelf. So yeah.
Did you want to maybe pull some of those for River North?
We got 2 of each.
Okay.
Well, we can bring a Doom over, but I mean, if you want to,
it's up to you. We just have space, and the pops are selling
Yeah.
sort of okay there.
True. Hey, here's a unrelated question to Pops.
I'm ready for it.
Hopefully, by this time next week, we will have the design in hand for this week's I Love You But I've Chosen Comics sale.
This year's, yes.
Yeah. Well, the 2020,
Sure.
technically the 2020
Sure.
sale.
You said this week is all.
Hopefully, by this time hopefully by then, in the next couple days, we have it, because I checked in with the artist, who I never say who it is, not because I'm being coy at its release, because I'm expecting something to go horribly wrong.
Yeah, we don't.
And us having to get a substitute, which, let's face it, that has happened. We've had to do in the past.
We definitely don't want to promise, oh, this person's doing the shirt, and then it's like, oh, well, it's too late now, and we have to get someone else because we can't get a hold of that person anymore, and they completely ghosted us.
I have been in contact with this person earlier in the month, and they did say, yes, everything is, like, I'm out of town now, but everything is on track for, because I just said end of the month.
Right.
So end of the month is still a few days.
Right.
So this will be the first time we run the sale in both stores.
Correct.
And
That
traditionally,
you know of, yes.
the sale T-shirt is, well, I mean, traditionally lately it's been red. It was black when we first started.
Sure. But then we transitioned to it being red, and then if we do an unlimited print of it, it's black.
Right. But now that we have a store that's blue,
Yes.
there'll be blue shirts as well.
Yes.
So here's my question to you.
Yes.
Can people that qualify pick their color?
No. Blue shirts are River North shirts, red shirts are Bucktown shirts. You want 2 shirts? Go to 2 sales.
There you have it, everyone.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that is the rule. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a way to explain this, but I think I just did.
No, you did. I understand it.
Yeah. If I see a blue shirt, that means you qualified for it at the River North sale.
Yeah.
You get a high five. If I see a red shirt, that means you qualified for it at the Bucktown sale. You get a high five. If I see you at C2E2,
Yeah. Okay.
that is a circumstance. That is to make sure that people understand what the rule is before the sale takes place. If you qualify for a sale T-shirt by spending more than $100 post-discount pre-tax at either Bucktown or River North, red or blue, and you get a sale T-shirt and you wear that sale T-shirt to C2E2, and I see you wearing it, you will get a free high five.
If he doesn't see you wearing it, you have to pay for that high five.
Oh, yeah, good point. No, there is the only circumstance under which you get a high five is if I see you wearing the shirt. No shirt, no high five.
I think that's clear.
I'm incentivizing people to participate in the sale. That's what I'm doing.
I thought the T-shirt was the incentive. But
No,
okay.
the T-shirt is the way to get the incentive, which is the high five. Which is not freely occurring. There's a very limited window. In fact, I'm only going to be at C2E2 one day this year.
If that.
No, I'll be there one day this year.
Okay.
And that means that on the show floor, on that one day, I have to see you, and you have to see me, and I have to see you wearing the shirt, and then your hand has to be free, because I'm not going to do much besides slow down. I'm not even going to stop. And then you get the high five, and we both go about our day.
What kind of high five?
What do you mean?
Who's giving the high five?
I am.
So how would it go?
Are you wearing the shirt?
Hypothetically, how would it go?
My hand would hit the other person's hand?
You wouldn't just do that?
I wouldn't do the Orange Cassidy high five, no.
That's what I was asking.
No, I would do
I thought you'd get there without me having to say it.
No, I would do a legit, regular human being high five, not the Orange Cassidy limp-wristed brush past.
Now, Matt Smith is going to be at C2E2.
Terminator's Matt Smith?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Mhm.
Wow.
American Psycho the Musical. It's Matt Smith.
Uh-huh.
Saturday and Sunday only.
Sure.
And I had said,
Typical.
if the timing works out, I would go, since I did a David Tennant autograph, or I'm sorry, photo session,
Yes.
I'd maybe do a Matt Smith one.
How much does it cost?
I didn't even look because the timing's not going to work out because it's Saturday or Sunday.
You don't know that it won't
And
work.
I'm already going to have to be there Saturday night. I don't want to have to go there Saturday morning and come back and then Saturday night. And
See,
come
but
back.
that's the thing. I feel like it's possible. I mean, I don't know who's working what days. But, I mean, Sunday is always a thing where you could maybe try and work it out.
Maybe.
You're already not at the store Sunday, so that's half the battle right there. So you could try and figure out, like, depending on when the autograph session or photo session times are, when it would be. And then Saturday, if there's a late in the day photo session, and you could potentially leave a couple hours early, you could go do that, and then you're already in the area for what you need to be in the area
I
for.
don't know. I mean,
I'm just saying.
David Tennant's enough.
I
Matt
don't-
Smith is just an add-on.
I don't mean to force a problem solve on
Although
you. If you
I
don't
did-
want to solve
I
this
did
problem,
have
I get it. That's fine.
a Matt Smith and David Tennant pass, and then Matt Smith had to cancel, and then I just got David Tennant.
What a waste.
I know.
Yeah, I've not really even looked at the C2E2 roster because they keep adding people and it feels fruitless to try and plan anything out now. So I'll probably, mid-February, I'll probably take a closer look at it. But I'm not a photo session guy, not an autograph guy.
I mean, I wasn't either until last year.
So I can't really think of anybody that they would have there that I'd be like, yes, I have to wait in line to get a photo
Optimus
with that person.
Prime.
No. I mean, I've been to BotCon where Optimus Prime has been there and I haven't done anything about it.
Who did Orson Welles play?
Unicron.
What if Orson Welles was there as Unicron?
I would definitely do that, but mostly I want to ask him questions about the afterlife.
He would only be able to tell you about Unicron's afterlife, and spoiler alert, Unicron's not dead.
Incorrect. That's one of the main things Unicron does is die.
I took a shot.
He previously was a multiversal singularity, which
Oh,
means
I
every
get
time
this.
he died, he'd move to another, like, plane of reality to have an existence there.
Of reality or of existence?
Both. But since then, the Hasbro creative team or whatever has decided, no, they're each different Unicrons, so when one dies, that's just it. It just dies. So, frankly, it is dying as its natural state for Unicron.
Hey, Dal, I
Patrick.
think I remember last week telling you to be prepared with...
I was.
Okay, cool.
I am.
Let's do it.
Are you prepared?
Not at all.
Okay.
Don't remember what I asked you.
You had said that you wanted to talk about, as this is the last podcast of the year, anyway, you wanted to talk about the year in comics, but also just kind of the year in general, like to have things to
Okay.
talk about, like things that were
Sure.
worth revisiting
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yep.
So-
And comic things you're looking forward to next year?
Oh, I didn't do that part.
See, that's the part I needed the most.
Oh, whoops. I'm
David Harper always asks me that, and I never have good answers.
I'm sure we'll
Actually, last
figure
year's
that
answer was great, but basically, I don't know what's coming out next year.
tensing your fingers.
I don't know
what's in the new catalog.
Here's the thing of, like, I was good this Christmas season
Uh-huh.
because I read all the stuff that came out that got collected.
Uh-huh.
If Christmas were in 2 months, I'd be boned, man.
Yeah.
I'm so far behind. I haven't had
Sure.
the time to read the new stuff. I can't tell you what is the new Infidel, what is the new Little Bird.
They haven't made it yet. Suicide Squad is the new both of those.
Which, by the way, I really like that
Patrick.
book, and no one's buying it.
No.
And I really liked Incoming, and so many people have shit all over it on the internet. I
Not
think
just on
it's-
the internet,
It's
Patrick.
good and worth $10.
Yeah, that is your position.
I
for
know,
sure.
and I'm not asking to debate it. I'm just saying, hey, buddy, what'd you like this year?
It's not volunteering to debate it. The two things I kind of want to talk about from comics, obviously these are things we've already talked about because if they were worth calling out as far as 2019 goes, they were definitely worth talking about at least 1 week in 2019. The two things for me for comics for 2019, and I looked over a lot of release lists just to see like what was happening this year because it's all so difficult to remember. Honestly, the only two things that I could look at as like a big old positive.
Are you talking about specific books or
No.
Okay.
House of X and Powers of 10.
Yep.
And the kind of whole X-Men Renaissance as a thing. And then the like kind of the establishment of Black Label as a brand more than just a couple books. because Black Label started last year,
Yeah.
but it was really just like Damned, and then kind of a bunch of retroactive books where they're like,
Yeah.
we
Like
would
All-Star
call these
Superman
Black
is now
Label
Black
now.
Label. Yeah.
And it's
Watchmen
like,
is
yeah,
Black Label.
Yeah. Just to get across to people the idea of like, this is what we consider going forward. These are the kind of books we'll be making for Black Label, are these sorts of stories. So it was cool in the just a general like statement of intent, but it didn't sell books necessarily. We weren't selling more All-Star Supermans because now they said Black Label. And Damned was such a weird book because while the format and the tone of it was real specific in the like, oh, this is the kind of stories they're going to be making way, it was so dwarfed by Batman's penis that it was impossible to say, like, what is the interest in this brand? Is it just people who want a book that DC had to, like, fire people for? And so 2019 was the year where it was really like, okay, what is Black Label? What are the books that are going to come out from it? How are people going to respond to it? And I would say it's been overwhelmingly positive in the way that, like, I look at DC and go, okay, you take out Black Label, they're kind of not doing super great.
No.
The Black Label stuff, as I've said for a long time, DC's strength is special projects. I don't know why that part of their DNA is so strong, and the month-to-month storytelling for their mainline superhero stuff is so easily ignored by fans. But the idea of them putting more emphasis on the special projects via Black Label is super-duper smart, because it is absolutely taking advantage of what's working well for that company. And this was the year that really proved that, where they would keep releasing these, Joker stories or Batman stories or Batman Joker stories, and they were just selling like crazy. People would keep adding them to their subscription list and keep checking out the issues. And they'd usually be over before people would get sick of them. They'd only have 2 or 3 issues or 4 or 5 months worth of books, and then all of a sudden it's done and you're moving on to the next thing. And then a collection comes out and that damned collection keeps selling. So, yeah, that Black Label stuff for sure, and then the X-Men stuff, very little to me that I would point to in 2019 was like, this worked great. Like, event-wise for us, we met a lot of cool people and we had some fun events, but the only thing I can point at and go like, that was a new thing we tried that worked really well, because we had successful events, and I don't want to say that the stuff I'm not going to mention was not successful.
Right. You're just talking about things that
brand new
made a
things,
significant impact.
or specifically brand new things that made a significant impact. And it's the Little Bird contest that we did with All-Star in Melbourne. That worked out great for us. We sold well over 100 copies of Little Bird 1. We consistently sold 2, 3, 4, and 5. We sold a bunch of the hardcovers. And that's a book that I don't think we would have gotten behind of in that way without that contest to really build around. Like, that contest allowed us to sort of take a more aggressive stance on that book than if we were just like, this looks like it might be fun.
Yeah, I mean, we did it because I really liked the book.
Right.
And did stand behind it.
Right, but I mean...
But it wasn't...
We wouldn't have ordered more than 50 copies.
Yeah, no, you're right. Even a book like Undiscovered Country, which was Image's highest selling number 1, or highest selling debut in like 5 years, and their second highest selling debut in like the last decade.
Yep.
We didn't order near what we ordered on Little Bird.
No, and we haven't sold out, and no one's talking about it.
Yeah.
Little Bird, people kept talking about it.
Yeah.
People kept bringing it up.
I'm current on Undiscovered Country,
Okay.
and I like it.
Okay.
I just...
Usually people don't say they like something with a question mark
It's
at the end.
very
Go on.
dense, and while a lot has happened, it feels like nothing is happening.
Sure. Yeah,
I wanted to be immediately gripped by a book that has this pedigree to it.
Oh, for sure.
Because I love Camo, and it's Scott
Oh,
Snyder,
yeah.
and it's Charles Soule.
Uh-huh.
I'm reading Charles Soule's second novel, Anyone, right now. And it's more of a, no, I dig it.
Yeah, with Undiscovered Country, I read the first one, and it was enough to make me not want to read more, because nothing that happened in Undiscovered Country number 1 felt like a surprise to me. It did not feel like a new take on anything so much as like, oh yeah, that's pretty much where I assumed the story would go.
Sure.
Okay, that's fine.
But I digress. I'm taking away from the year-end things.
That's it. That was my my year-end comic stuff. Was like, honestly, for 2019, we had a new store. That's the thing. But in the industry,
no, we're not going industry-wise.
in the industry as a whole, like those 3 things, like Little Bird, Hawks and Pox, and the Black Label stuff are like the three things I can kind of point to and go, those were great. Those worked out really well. And it's kind of an indictment of the rest of the industry that I can't really pick more than that without qualifying it very heavily.
Sure.
Those were three unqualified hits. Everything else is like, things that seem like they should have been a huge hit based on the way that publishers were positioning things just kind of didn't. J.J. Abrams' Spider-Man was the thing that we thought people were going to be interested in, and it was getting buzz, and boy, when it came out, no one cared. Still tuning our numbers down on that book.
I mean, we're 3 issues into a 5-issue series, which is now terribly late, and nothing has really happened.
I quit after issue 2 because I was just like, I don't know if I've read it. I think I read issue 2, and I was just like, this is not for me.
It's really hard to almost keep that straight with Spider-Man Life Story, which is another story of Spider-Man being a dad.
Being a terrible dad.
But I mean...
Always a terrible dad.
But in Life Story, he was trying really hard to do the right things for his kids.
He's trying real hard in both books.
Well...
Making bad choices. But I mean, that's Spider-Man. Like, that's... there are characters who are just bad at making decisions, and they consistently make bad decisions, and that's part of their character, and it's part of their charm. But yeah, it's... So yeah, for Marvel, there were things like that kind of didn't click. War of the Realms, I thought the story itself was good, but boy, we took a bath on all the tie-ins.
And we ordered low, too.
We ordered
That's
low, and we still
part.
got killed on them. No one cared. So with Absolute Carnage, we were much more pessimistic in our ordering, and in general, we did okay on those. There were times where, a couple books where it's like, I wish we'd ordered more because they didn't reprint that issue, and we have orders that we can't fill. But in general, like, I was fine leaving some money on the table with Absolute Carnage because of how much money we lost on the War of the Realms stuff.
Yeah. And then they spin off Strike Force.
Yeah, right.
What?
For DC, I'm trying to think. I mean, Black Label, yes. Most everything else kind of was not working. For whatever reason.
Was Green Lantern this year, or did it start in 2018?
Ish. I mean, if it started, it was like maybe December of 2018.
Yeah, just because it went to 12, and then they're on issue 2 of Black Stars.
Yeah.
Black Stars.
The Bendis stuff for Superman is definitely down below where it was when he started.
Yeah.
So that's not great, especially because it's shipping half as often as it used to. So that's not good. Event Leviathan did well, but it wasn't like a huge breakout hit. Books like Justice League are still, to me, drastically underperforming, considering not only the pedigree of the creators, but also where that book is kind of positioned as like the anchor of the Year of the Villain.
Dal, once Scott Snyder and James Tynion moved from Justice League, the next A-list writer they have for that series...
Robert Venditti. Yeah, boy, that's not going to make a difference. Which is to say that maybe the sales are so low that you can't really chop more out from under it. If people are reading it now, I guess they're going to keep reading it. Year of the Villain as a whole idea was another complete misfire from DC. And it kind of gets to my point about how when they kind of get out of their own way editorially and just let creators tell stories with their characters, like with Black Label, it's a huge hit. Every dumb-ass top-down editorial idea that company does creates so many barriers to readers, and I don't know why they keep doing it. Like, I cannot remember the last time they had a sort of top-down, line-wide idea for their superhero books, and it actually caused sales to go up. With the Year of the Villain stuff, they put it on top of the books for like 4 months. Nobody was adding extra books because of it, and then they took an entire month to put these acetate covers on that for us at Bucktown, maybe 1 or 2 extra people would buy an issue. It wasn't like multiple people were jumping onto these things or getting all of them.
And it confused more people than ever because of the way the titles were.
Yeah, you didn't even put the goddamn logo of the book on a prominent position on the cover. You made it say City of Bane real big and then Batman real small in the left-hand corner. Like, what is wrong with you? Why are you so bad at being able to sell Batman and Justice League comics to people who read superhero comics? This is easy. This should be easy. But yeah, that was a frustration with DC this year, where they have this dumb idea, and like, just to me as a retailer, like, what the hell does Year of the Villain even mean? Superheroes fight supervillains. That's the main thing they do. That is not a change in the status quo. And again, since it was something that was spinning out of Justice League, a book that, frankly, not a lot of people were reading and no one was talking about, a big old misfire from DC.
I wish Legion was doing better.
Yeah, Legion,
But I mean, traditionally, the last couple Legion series have sold terrible for us. So
Yeah.
the fact that this one isn't selling terrible
this one's doing
is a big win.
adequate.
But I want it to be one of their higher books.
Yeah, for sure. I love Legion of Superheroes, and I like those creators. I don't think it's the best work either of them have ever done, but I think it's got some merit to it. But yeah, it doesn't seem like people were really won over by Brian Michael Bendis' idea for Legion of Superheroes, despite Ryan Sook on the art.
I like the way number 2 ended.
Yeah, I think it's good. I'm excited about I like those characters. You know?
Yeah.
Real weird that Batman kind of, for a book that was concluding the major phase of its story with issue 85, to have so many people check out around 82 is crazy to me. Like, you've come this far. You don't want to read the last 3 issues, and based on our sales at Red, no, they do not.
Yeah.
They're just done. They got to 82 and they're like, I'm tired of this. I don't want to go the next 20 feet to reach the finish line. I don't care anymore. So we got stuck with a lot of 83, 84, and 85 for Batman, and I don't know what that means for 86 with the new creative team.
Which is tough because Batman had dropped for us and was slowly starting to rise back up.
Mm-hmm.
So we leaned into the rise at the wrong time.
Yeah, well, my assumption, wrongly as it would turn out, was that people who were maybe on the fence or had maybe checked out a little earlier than 82 would want to come back and see how the whole story ends, and it was exactly the opposite. Not only did they not come back, but the people who were sticking it out, a bunch of them decided, I don't want to stick it out anymore. And I liked how it ended, although that said, I don't think 82, 83, and 84 were the strongest issues in that entire run.
Yeah.
Made some real weird storytelling decisions that if you were someone who did not like where the story was going, those issues would not convince you that you had made a mistake. So that was kind of the things that DC didn't do great. Image, yeah, I mean, Little Bird, great. Everything else, I'm not seeing it. We'll talk about this probably in the next episode when we start talking about the 2019 graphic novel top 100 sales. Image got a real problem putting together new hits. Real big problem. Nothing's really breaking through to people. We talked about it a few episodes ago, I'm pretty sure, and it's a huge problem for Image going into 2020. They're making some good moves. Jonathan Hickman and Mike Hawthorne?
Mike Hawthorne.
One of the two of them.
Mike Hiddleston, Tom's brother. That was a joke.
Right, but Huddleston is one of them. Is it not Mike Huddleston? It's Mike Hawthorne?
I don't know. It's one of the two.
It's one of the two.
I'm sure I got it wrong.
Him and Hickman doing Decorum, a bunch of people were suddenly like, oh, a new Hickman book. I want this. So that's clear.
Yeah, everyone said that for Frontier too, Dal.
Yeah, well, this one he's not drawing, so maybe it'll actually come out. But yeah, man, Saga's got to come back. Like, I don't want to tell Image what to do in 2020, but Saga has to come back, and it has to come back real
soon. For
soon.
us to not have Saga for a year, but to not have it for 18 months, 19, 20 months, like a full calendar year without Saga. Hey, Dal, the fact that we didn't that we actually had a sales, we were basically flat for the year, but we'll talk about it later, but it's actually, the numbers are up, just not up huge. That's without Saga.
Yeah, without not only, 9 or 10 issues of Saga, but 1 or 2 new collections of Saga.
Yeah.
Which is its own, few hundred to few $1,000s. Yeah, I'm not saying the creators have to get, back to work. But I mean, for Image as a publisher, like, you do not have anything that can replace Saga. You don't have 3 books together that can replace Saga. So it not being around, those are thousands of fans, thousands that are not going into comic shops until Saga comes back, which means all of your other books are working at a huge disadvantage.
And
so you got to figure out a way to get that book to come back.
Even when Saga comes back, the majority of those fans aren't coming back for 6 more months when it's collected. Right.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, our sales, we will probably sell at least 100 copies of the first issue of Saga to come back. We will sell close to 100 copies of the graphic novel when it comes out to a largely separate audience.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, both those things are huge and going to help most stores' 2020s. But, yeah, for Image as a publisher, you gotta figure out that situation. Like, if anything, you need to figure out a way to not be as dependent on Saga, because we're looking at this last year saying, oh, yeah, I can tell Saga didn't come out. You don't want to be in that position.
No, definitely not.
Of literally one book being like, well, your publisher kind of didn't do great this year because this one comic did not come out. For other publishers, I mean, very little worth talking about. I've liked books from other publishers, but nothing that's really been like a huge sales success from anybody. There was a period where it seemed like there were a bunch of small press people, your Aftershocks and your Vaults and your Black Masks that were kind of bubbling under. But this, to me, 2019 was the year where it's like, no, they didn't. They had the chance to break through and they didn't. If anything, Boom kind of reasserted itself.
Yeah.
With a lot of its creator-owned or
Once in
non-licensed
Future, Somebody's
material.
Killing the Children.
Yeah, it seemed like there was a
Red
period
Mother
there.
#1 I thought was real good.
I would call out Red Mother as the one that kind of didn't work. Not for me
Okay.
necessarily. I didn't. There's other books they've published that I haven't really enjoyed personally, but have been good sales-wise. Red Mother was one where just like the audience that was doing the boosts for those Boom first issues did not seem to have any interest in Red Mother #1.
Oh yeah, I was just talking about that. I enjoyed reading the book.
Okay. I just mean like in a most of these things are not necessarily like, you know, I'm not speaking of qualitatively, I'm speaking like for industry trends. And yeah, like for whatever reason, Once in Future launched big, Something is Killing the Children launched real big. And then you get to Red Mother and it's like, oh, like Red Mother and Folklords I think were two where it's like, I don't know if this is going to keep being a thing. Because those were two that did all of the right things as far as like the FOC covers and the, you know, fast reprints, which means it's pre-selling out to stores. All the little data points that those, you know, jump on #1, get all the covers, this could be a movie or a TV show fans look for. But it did not turn into people coming into our store and buying them. And that's on top of the larger problem of those are fans that largely only exist for issue 1 of a book.
Hey Dal, that actually leads me into the second Dal quote that we got distracted when I was talking about the two quotes. You and I were having an electronic chat about a gentleman who was looking for some very specific books.
Yes.
Yesterday when I was in River North for the new releases.
Yes.
And basically, he was looking. Oh, did you get did you have new releases this week? Yeah, they're all right over here. Oh, you don't have this one specific variant cover for Venom? And it's like, no. We have 14 new comics this week. I'm sorry, we don't have number 15, which is an incentive variant for
right
a
1 in 25. No. Was it the Crane cover?
It was the Crane cover, yeah.
I think, I don't know if that was gated so much as we just were like, no, it's okay.
Was it? I thought it was only...
A teaser variant? No.
Yeah.
I think we just said, no, it's okay.
Okay.
Especially because that was a new store, and it's like, I don't know what the audience is going to be like,
Right.
so I don't know if I want to order this.
And also, if we could train them immediately from the start that we're not the variant cover store. But basically, Dal's quote was, if you just care about the covers and not the comics, we're not the store for you. Go somewhere else.
Yeah, there's people like that, and I don't. That's not me, and sometimes I get mad at them at the way that they kind of warp the industry and the publishers and even the stores that they frequent. But in general, like if that's your experience, like there are plenty of stores in Chicago and in the world that can service your needs as a fan.
Well, he talked about how he likes, sometimes the 1 in 100 covers, and I told him, I go, look, man, if you want a 1 in 100 cover, you can get it for us for cover price if you buy the 100 copies that it takes to get. Yeah. And then he said, well, I like to pick, I want to like judge and make sure the quality is there. And I go, you can't. That stuff, if we get one, we get one. We get what we get.
Yeah. You don't get to look at it and then go,
you can't pick the best of
what I'm
10 1 in 100 covers.
No.
It's the one. If it's dinged up, then it's dinged up. They only make X number of those covers.
Right.
It's not. There is no quality control for a field of one.
Yeah, and on top of that, like just in general, like I think we have a pretty clear identity of what our stores are, and I think we try and be as upfront with people as possible as to what we are going to stock and what kind of store we're running and what our emphasis is on. We don't do vintage books. We don't do incentive covers. We don't mark stuff up. We don't do those things. Yeah, but
what about the guy that spends thousands of dollars on making
thousands of dollars? He has to keep mentioning that. It's to me, it's like if you want fast food fried chicken and you keep going into McDonald's and being disappointed that they don't have it, go to a different restaurant.
Like Popeyes.
For example, there are plenty of places you can go to that will do that, but to keep going to the one place where it's like, but all you've got is hamburgers. I want this other thing. Go someplace else. It's fine. I don't think McDonald's is going to be too mad that you're not buying fried chicken from them. They'll be okay. So yeah, that's that part of the industry, not great. Boom definitely like a lot of big hits and a lot of stuff where they were having, clear difficulty, and they eventually communicated that difficulty well to retailers as to getting books on the shelves in time for retailers to be able to sell them. But it's frustrating to me, and I imagine it's got to be a little bit frustrating to Boom, how much of that success is down to the speculator market and how brief their attention span is. Because it's you're not releasing one-shot comic books, You're releasing a series that a creative team is working on that then suddenly it's like issue 6 and it's like, well, where's the readership? They're all gone. Well, they kind of were never there.
Yeah.
They were buying all of the covers they could get because it was worth X amount of money online, and because since it's Boom Studios, the hope is that at some point it will be a movie or a TV show and they can take whatever copies of issue 1 they squirreled away and flip them for more money. Issue 3s aren't worth anything. Who cares? Who cares about issue 3? Issue 1. That's the one they want. So yeah, it was a fun, interesting year in the comics industry. A lot of kind of typical things that we just saw new versions of, and other things where it was a little exciting to sort of figure out where the industry was going and what's going on with it. Besides that, 2019, non-comics wise, pretty decent for me. Saw Superchunk 3 times in 1 year. Saw him at a festival, saw him at an acoustic club, and saw him at an electric club.
Twice in a 24-hour period.
Pretty great. Pretty into that. I don't know that I'll ever have a year where I see them 3 times again, but I'm hoping that I can, at some point, match or beat that. It's the new goal.
Okay.
Finished so far in 2019 7 Kamen Rider series.
Oh, God.
That
is 7 years worth of Kamen Riders.
I got 4 more episodes and 1 clip show episode that I got to do to finish Kuga in 2019, so that'll be 8.
Oh my God.
8 series. In order: Oz, Forza, Wizard, Gaim, Drive, Ghost, Build, and Kuga. 8. Yeah, that's how I judge my 2019. That's how many times I saw Superchunk and how many Kamen Rider series I've watched. It's going pretty well. It went pretty well. I think it's going to end well.
Excellent.
High goals for 2020. Patrick, how was your 2019? Obviously,
oh gosh,
you're not one for complaining, so it's only going to be good things, I assume.
Sure, right?
Patrick, anything good happening in 2019? Literally anything?
Hey, excellent. Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for being Challengers fans and for supporting the store and for trusting us with your funny book needs. And thank you for listening.
Keep reading comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155.
And in the River North neighborhood of Chicago at 750 North Franklin Street, number 103, 312-285-2252.
Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. Like Challengers Comics on Facebook, follow @Challengers on Twitter, and help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.